All right, and I am back on the couch with Richard Souther, composer extraordinaire. And we read your bio last time, and everything from, I mean, you've done your breadth of work. You've done so many different projects with different things. The most recent one, actually, you just finished a film score. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
It's a kind of a psychological mystery. It's called Whole, and it's an independent film. And we couldn't get it up here in time.
That seems like it would fit. I could see you doing the music to a thriller and doing it really well. So cool.
It was a lot of fun.
I bet.
A lot of fun to do.
So how do you approach doing a musical score? I mean, does the director, is it kind of a collaborative effort?
It's totally collaborative. Yeah. We'll sit and we'll talk, and he'll play me some ideas, and we'll go back and forth, and eventually we reach a happy medium that we both can live with.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, we've talked about the different projects you've done, and this must be a really different avenue for you. How challenging was it to do a film score? And I mean, what did you run into that maybe you didn't expect to run into in this new creative area that you got to explore?
Probably the time factor. You have to work real quick, and I'm used to just taking my time and spending a year on a project, and people want it yesterday, you know, in this particular medium. So it's interesting, and but it's fun. Yeah. I love it.
And I'm sure you enjoyed it, just getting to interact with another artist in a different medium and kind of blending those two.
Yes,
it's always interesting.
Yes.
Now, another thing that I guess now we can say is interesting and certainly had a big influence on your career and how it developed. But for those of you out there that don't know, Richard, it was 1981, I believe, had botulism and went through a lot of paralyzation, a lot of issues. So why don't you take us through from getting botulism to now being a world-class composer? Because I mean, it was a battle.
It was definitely a road I never thought I would take. I was co-producing an album in Colorado, and we were in our 4th day of production, and I went downstairs in the studio and fixed myself a tuna fish sandwich. The tuna fish was laced with botulism, and it didn't hit me until about an hour later. They flew me home. I became a patient at UCLA on and off for about 5 years.
If you don't mind, pardon my ignorance, in botulism, but what exactly are some of the major symptoms? I mean, obviously it can cause paralysis and death.
Yes, with me it was paralysis. To a great extent, and chronic pain and short-term memory loss, things like that. Very frustrating things. I lost the ability to play the piano.
Right, and for you, that must have been the biggest thing.
Biggest frustration.
You know, was not being able to play music, which is your life.
So, but what happened was I got into computers where you could actually type one note in at a time.
Right.
Which got me into this whole world of electronic music, which I love.
Right.
And I know for a fact that wouldn't have happened because my course was set on another way. And so the first album I released as a solo record.
Let me backtrack for a little bit. That's how you relearned how to play music,
yes, that's how I relearned.
Listening note by one note at a time on a computer, and went from that to rebuilding your ability to play, compose, and think musically. Right?
Yes. It was a matter of baby steps for a long time.
So talk about that first album that you were able to compose and really put a lot of effort into after this long recovery period. I mean, it's been kind of emotional.
It was very emotional because the first album, it was called Airborne, H-E-I-R-B-O-R-N-E, and it was one of those things where I had been saving all my little ideas because my short-term memory was shot, and the computers became my short-term memory. And Airborne was a culmination of all those little ideas,
Right.
and it was just great to see that kind of born. And then the next thing I knew was I was asked at the same time, once I signed with this record label, to do a solo piano album. And I said, well, it's going to be a real slow solo piano album, you know, and it's going to be improvised. And we did it, and just took a couple days and took the best cuts, and it came out very well, and
Well,
still gets played all over the world.
I mean, there's so much, and between there, it's been how many albums now? 7? Is it
18.
18. So 18 albums. Richard Souther, again, he plays Friday nights at the Spicy Lady, which is in Heber City, and they've been on Cooking, so a great combination of food and music.
Try's great, yeah.
Yeah, and then Thursday night at
Prime
Steakhouse right here in Park City on Main Street, one of my favorite steakhouses.
It's a wonderful place.
It is, and it's a really cool setup with the music. I haven't seen you there yet, but I will
You gotta come
eventually. And we're going to hear you a little bit more in the show, so stay tuned to the Mountain Morning Show on Park City Television. We'll be back.